Scared to speak a new language? Well, you're not alone. Almost every learner struggles with this at some point. But today, we're fixing that. I'll show you the exact methods to get over that fear so that speaking becomes really, really fun. Don't forget to like this video, comment and subscribe, and now let's get started. The first thing you need to do, and this is a big one, is you need to let go of perfection. So many of us, well, myself included, we tend to think that we need to be absolutely perfect in order to be able to speak, but it's actually, you don't become fluent and then speak. You become fluent by speaking. Yes, grammar is very important, so is pronunciation, but when perfection becomes kind of a prerequisite for speaking, it just sucks the joy out of learning and just slows you down massively. At the end of the day, most of us are doing this for ourselves. No one's telling us to learn a language. And language learning is supposed to be fun. It should bring you joy, new people, new experiences, new opportunities, and not stress. So accept that you'll make mistakes because everyone does. Even native speakers, they make mistakes in their own native language. I mean, think about your native language. Do you sometimes make mistakes in your language? Do you sometimes have to Google how to say something? I know my native language is Polish. I sometimes have to Google certain things because I'm not sure how to say them, what the correct form is. And I know that I'm not the only one. It happens a lot. So don't hold yourself to this impossible standard. It doesn't do you any good. Another thing that really helped me with this, and this might sound silly to some of you, but remember that you have a native language too. Because I think sometimes when we speak with native speakers, we kind of tend to feel self-conscious, kind of like inferior almost. Yeah, what really helped me was remembering I have a native language too, and we just happen to be speaking someone else's native language. So when you make mistakes, remember that you are not speaking badly. You are literally speaking a foreign language that you've just learned or that you are still learning. So give yourself some grace. The second thing that you need to do is separate your identity from your skill level. And what I mean by that is sometimes when we are speaking and we make a mistake or it's just really hard, right? Sometimes we tend to think, I suck at this, I'm terrible at this, I'm not made for this. But it's just a new skill that you are practicing. Think about it like when you, I don't know, when you go to the gym, right? You do reps at the gym. So think about each conversation that you have in a new language is just another rep that you are doing, and you are training that skill and you are getting better and better with every conversation. If you make mistakes, don't think that you suck, you are terrible. You're new to this, and this is a new skill that you want to pick up, and you will get better because you've learned many other skills that you are good at. So yeah, the first thing was give yourself some grace, and now I'm gonna say give yourself some time to practice. All right, the third thing is lower the bar significantly and give yourself permission to be average or even bad. There's just, I don't know why, but we are just so obsessed with being perfect. And this kind of ties into the first point I made about perfection. But I really want to emphasize this. No one expects you to be perfect, and no one cares as much as you do. So really lower the bar. The first conversation that you have in a new language, it doesn't have to be this big debate about politics or philosophy or art. It can literally be a conversation at the grocery store, or it can be a simple, hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you? So start small, and I mean really small, because every small step trains your brain to think, wait, I can do this. The goal is to build exposure and not impress anyone. I know that it's tempting to impress other people with your language skills, but at the beginning, let's just focus on exposure. Every small win gives you the confidence to keep going. And you don't have to be perfect, you can make mistakes. How I like to think about this is, I don't know, because this kind of varies by country, but in Poland, the grading system at school goes from 1 to 6, right? So 1 is the lowest, 6 is the highest. If I'm just starting to speak a new language or any new skill that I pick up, I aim for 3+. So I guess if you're in the US or if you use the A to F grading system, just think like that you want to get a C. You don't want to do terribly, obviously, but also like you don't care about doing exceptionally well. You just want to get a C, because then if you get a C, you pass, and it's just like not a big deal, right? Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 more mindset tips, and then we are gonna move on to more practical tips that you can implement even today. Also, if you want more practical tips and exercises on how to start speaking a new language, I made a separate video about that I will link in the description. So you are very welcome to check that one out as well. Okay, number 4 is focus on the goal, not on the current situation. For me, I learn languages because I love to travel. I love meeting new people, connecting with new people, exploring new places, new cultures, having new experiences, and languages really help you with that. When let's say, okay, I'm learning Russian at the moment, right? And I really want to focus on speaking. So when I do my speaking exercises, or I try to speak with someone on the street, whatever, when I'm traveling, sometimes it sucks. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it sucks, sometimes I don't want to do it, sometimes it's embarrassing, but I think about the bigger goal. And I know that if I do this, and if I do this enough, then I'm gonna become comfortable speaking Russian. And then I'm gonna be able to have longer conversations, deeper conversations, and I will eventually get to my goal, which is speaking Russian fluently. Okay, and the last one from the mindset part of the video is do it despite being scared. Because the truth is, there is no way around it. You just have to start at some point. There are a few exercises that you can do to make it a bit smoother that I'm gonna share with you in a minute, but everyone who has ever learned a new language had to face that exact same situation that you might currently be in. So just remember that you are not alone. I think most people are really nice, and when they see that you are trying, that you really want to learn a new language, then they will be supportive. And if they're not, then that says a lot more about them than about your language level or like your speaking skills, whatever. So yeah, you just have to do it. And there's actually this really great quote that I stumbled upon recently. And I really want to read it to you because I think it captures what I'm trying to say perfectly. So I'm gonna read it for you from my Kindle. It's from the book Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is a great book, by the way. Okay, so the quote is, "Do you know the difference between bravery and courage?" Vanessa said. Joan considered the question. "I don't think so. My dad taught me when I was little. Bravery is being unafraid of something other people are afraid of. Courage is being afraid, but strong enough to do it anyway." And I think that captures my point perfectly. So yeah. Do it scared, do it anyway. Okay, now let's move on to the more practical part of this video. And my first tip is prepare safe scripts. A lot of the everyday situations that you are gonna start with, like having a conversation at the grocery store or going to the bank, to the pharmacy, they are very predictable. You have to say hello, sometimes you have to introduce yourself. When you're going to the bank, you might want to say, "Hi, I would like to open a bank account." So there is this level of predictability to those situations, which is very good, and we are looking for that at the beginning. I used to do this a lot when I first moved to France. I had to like open a bank account, I had to go to the post office for the first time, or go to those like many different offices at my university, stuff like that. So I would even like type into Google Translate how to say something, or I would prepare the phrases myself, and I would write them down in my notes app on my phone. And then you can even memorize them if that makes you feel more confident. And then when I would go, let's say, to the bank, right? And I wanted to open a bank account, in case I forgot how to say something, I could just open up my notes app and it was right there. So that really small thing made those situations a lot less stressful. I was a lot more confident. And when you're confident and you're not overthinking everything, then you just sound way more fluent. Words just flow out of your mouth. And actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I ever actually had to use my notes, but just having them made me a lot less nervous and a lot more confident. So I really encourage you to try that one. And you can even prepare a few phrases that will tell someone else that you are a beginner or that you are just like learning to speak. For example, you can write down how to say, "Can you speak a little bit slower, please? I'm still a beginner, so I might have to ask you to repeat a few times," or "Can you repeat, please?" And people usually react to those really well. Again, when I first moved to France, there was this guy who like takes care of the whole like dorm building. He saw that I was really nervous and that it was kind of hard for me to speak French especially when it came to like more technical stuff. So he would automatically switch to English. And one day I told him, I don't want to speak English. I really want to improve my speaking. I really want to improve my French. So I would really appreciate if we could just speak French. And it doesn't matter if you have to repeat a few times. It doesn't matter if I don't understand it first, but I really, really want to learn. And he was like, okay, yeah, no problem. And actually, I moved out of that dorm 3 years later. And at the end, he told me, you know what? When you told me that 3 years ago, that was really impressive. And I really liked that. And it showed me that you were very determined. So yeah, I think most people will react well if you tell them that you really want to learn and ask for their help. Another thing you can prepare is a short introduction or a description of what you do at work or what your university program is about or your hobbies. Stuff that people usually ask about. Think about what you usually talk about with people when you first meet them, what questions you ask, and then prepare answers to those questions. Again, you can memorize those answers, but you don't have to. You can just kind of memorize the like core vocab and then just go from there. It will just make you feel a lot more confident if you prepare those in advance. Okay, the last tip that I want to give you is make speaking a habit, not a big event. We want to normalize speaking. We want to signal to our brains it's normal, it's something we do every day, that it's completely chill. So find small, very low pressure ways to practice daily. It can be talking to yourself in the mirror or recording yourself speaking. Find something that works for you. I used to work with this little girl. She's 10 and she has 2 dogs and she's absolutely obsessed with them. So she really wanted to start speaking and I suggested to her, why don't you start speaking to your dogs? Obviously you can say like sit, stay, but you can also kind of talk to them about your day or ask them questions. They're not gonna reply, obviously, but it's about just normalizing speaking, not making it such a big deal. And you can play around with it and tailor it to your specific situation. Maybe you live with someone who speaks that language that you want to learn, or you have friends that speak that language. Whatever it is, find something that is easy for you, that is very, very small and very, very low pressure. All right, I'd love to chat more, but I have another video to film, so I have to go. But in the meantime, you can check out my other videos about speaking. I made one with practical exercises, and I also made one how to get a native-like accent. So yeah, check them out.